Welcome back to Absolute Comics. My name is Benny, that is Sal, and we get together on a weekly basis to discuss the news going on in the world of comic books, from superhero TV shows to movies to comic books themselves to just rumors. We have an hour-long podcast that goes live at twitch.tv/comicstorian every Tuesday at about 5 p.m. Eastern, and it's been going on now, if you even include our original show, for like 21,000 years at this point. We've been doing this for way too long.
Yeah,
and it's thanks to the grace
civilization.
of you guys being awesome. Thank you so much. Today's sponsor. Oh, I moved it. Oh, you know I'm wearing the shirt. Gamer Subs. The gamers. Yeah, see?
They have shirts too?
They have shirts to go with the waifus. So, Gamer Subs. They've got sustainable bars. They're coming out Friday. This video will be live after that. They're amazing. They're high-protein energy bars that taste like Rice Krispie treats. If you care about macros like I do, it's like 14 grams of carbs and like 20 grams of protein. They're great. They've also got very not chalky energy drinks with fun names, such as Gamer Farts or Titty Milk. Both of those are great. But they also have traditional ones like citrus lemonade and fruit punch if you don't want to get ballsy. Anyway. But they also sell shaker cups with custom artwork of waifus. I say waifus because they're called waifu cups. And they sell t-shirts for it. So here's the t-shirts, which, by the way, Sal, I've been wearing a lot more of these anime shirts recently, and I got a comment that somebody's like, I love watching Benny embrace being an otaku over the last 5 years. And I'm just like, I find that hilarious. Because I've never, like, this isn't even a plug for shirts or anything like that. We did the plug. Go use the code COMICS at checkout. Get 10% off of your order. My wardrobe has always consisted of vintage shirts or things like you're wearing. Because even as a kid, I've never cared what people think about what I'm wearing when I'm generally walking around. The reason I didn't wear a lot of anime shirts is it just made more sense for my brand to wear Batman and Superman and The Flash. The reason I wear more of them on screen now is I care far less. But I do want to say, for those people who like the cool shirts, the anime shirts, the Batman shirts, have a normal wardrobe. Not everyone will understand that you don't care, and sometimes you need them to care. So
Yeah, I wouldn't wear a waifu shirt to like a business meeting.
No, I selectively know when to wear this. Like when I go talk to my real estate partners, I got a button up. Like the primary guy is like 57. He would not get
He won't get it. Yeah.
So I just want to let you know,
does.
don't give a crap what anyone thinks what you're wearing. Wear whatever you want to wear. The reason I started to wear more anime and manga shirts is because I get compliments on those. I was talking to a buddy because he gets them too. We started wearing them more and more. And it's weird. I feel like it's people who want to wear those shirts but don't want to wear them in public.
100%.
But if I wear like a Batman shirt, no one says anything normally. But if I wear like a waifu shirt, it's like, dude, I love your shirt. Or I get a lot of women that compliment the waifu stuff. I have this waifu cup hoodie that they put out. It's got all the faces, nothing lewd, just faces.
Okay.
And then like blossoms down the side. And a woman is like, I love your hoodie. Where did you get it? So I started wearing these more because people started complimenting me on them.
Yeah.
As proven by the guy who commented on Absolute Comics when I wore a shirt.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Every time I break out my Spider-Man wallet, people who can't get away with having them go like, oh my God, you have a Spider-Man wallet. That's awesome. Hell yes. I'm like, yeah, it's nice. And it's not Velcro. Like, it's a real wallet.
I don't know. I know I wear what I wear and I get away with what I want to do, whatever I want to do, partially because of our line of work, Sal. Yeah. Like my tattoos, the full sleeves. Certain jobs this wouldn't fly. And that's actually why I don't go past the cuff or the neck. Yeah. It's because it wouldn't fly.
That's right.
But I wonder some days if this would still be my primary wardrobe if I had a normal, like if I was a manager at some store or something like that.
I don't think so. I mean, like when you used to work at GameStop, I think this is the same, that you look pretty much like you would if you worked at GameStop. If you were managing a GameStop, you'd look like this.
No, back in my day, we had to wear polos. You had to get polos.
Yeah, back then, but eventually you'd graduate into this period where it's like, you can get away with that.
Yeah. So I always wonder about that. But that
based on the people who manage the GameStops near me, the professional decorum has gone out the window. Like, it's just dress like you shop at the GameStop. And I'm like, that's fair.
I've ended up at GameStop TikTok, where they just make fun of GameStop while working at GameStop, and they're all wearing very normal stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So, but we're going to move forward now, guys, because we are in a bit of a time crunch. I hurt my back, and I got to go get it looked at in literally 35 minutes from now. So, Today's topics are going to be stuff involving Captain Marvel, stuff involving Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool 3, more Deadpool 3 news. Then we're going to talk about comicbook.com and Kevin Feige, and then we're going to talk about Jason Momoa. But before we get into that, Sal, you said you read Dark Crisis 6, which I also read today.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
It's not great, man.
I don't think it was bad.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great.
It's just I don't know if I like this or not, because I feel like this was the line. This was probably supposed to be the end for Dark Crisis, because 7's the ending, right? So I think this was supposed to be the end, but Joshua Williamson, I was going to call him Josh because we're friendly with him, but anyway, Joshua Williamson obviously wanted a fight issue. So this issue...
Every issue has a big fight in it.
No, but this whole issue is the big fight.
This issue is the big fight. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You're right. Every issue has a big fight. This issue is nothing but a big fight, and then one good moment, like that wasn't a fight, which was Superman preventing the... I don't want to go too deep into it, but... I don't know how I feel about Dark Crisis as a whole. That's, I think, my issue at this point. Because we've had nothing since Dark Crisis 6 and that weird Young Justice tie-in. So we've just had dead space of no way to remember this is even happening.
Oh, I know. There's another Dark Crisis type tie-in because someone references a significant plot point takes place in this book in another tie-in. Someone's like, oh, like the whole damn time, Pariah's been led by the the Great Darkness. The Great Darkness has been leading Pariah. Somebody runs into the room and yells, "It's not the Great Darkness. It's all in Pariah's head. He's making it up."
Wait,
and then it's like,
what side issue is that?
I don't know, but it says it has a little thing where it's like that happens in this tie-in, and I'm like, "Oh, get right out of town."
Hold on, I'm pulling that up now. Where is that?
Yeah,
because I mean I had to skim read it ahead before the show today. So and when I speed read, which is super easy when it's all a fight issue.
Oh, sure.
Sometimes I'll miss the little things. I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah.
There it is, Dark Crisis number 6. Do you remember, do you have any idea where it was happening?
I'm looking right now. I think it is, here we go. Page 14. Jonathan Kent says, "But this isn't the Great Darkness. It's Pariah's own insanity, his own power gone mad, as revealed in Dark Crisis, the Deadly Green. Paying attention."
On page 4, oh, my digital must be different from your digital.
Yeah, well, it doesn't include any ads. Oh, that's right. There's no ads in digital.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. What is the Dark Greatness, the Deadly Green? I'm assuming that's a book involving Swamp Thing.
I mean, I assume as well, but I didn't see it solicited. Also, you may want to put that in there.
Yeah. Like, what is this?
This is also the second time that's happened in this series where a character runs in. I think it happened in issue 5, where a character runs in and goes, "The thing that you thought was happening isn't happening because of what happened over there." And I'm like, okay.
Okay, I found it. It looks like that book also came out today.
Oh.
Like, I'm not... Oh, it's even funnier because in this book...
No, it came out October 4th.
Okay, but you want to know something even funnier?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you guys this. You're going to love this. It's not supposed to take place before, according to Amazon.
Oh, well, Amazon's I mean...
Amazon has the listing of Dark Crisis.
Oh,
right?
Cool. Yeah.
It goes 6, then Dark Crisis, the Deadly Green.
Oh, my God.
So they themselves have it happening after 6.
Yeah.
And then it goes the Dark Army, then it's Warzone.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're just going into a weekly spin-off territory?
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of this.
I should have read it. I'm looking at it right now. The Upside Down Man's in there. Man, I should have read this.
I didn't catch it either, because I literally look every week to find a Dark Crisis title, because I send it over to the writer and be like, hey, here's the Dark Crisis title. Because we try to put those out speedy, like right away.
Yeah. Yeah, Tiffany would have loved this. Damn.
That's so... Okay. So now I got to read that and see what's even going on. But this goes back to what I'm saying. Dark Crisis is at a point where it's just... I like the idea behind it, but I feel like it either needed to be shortened, so it just happened, or you needed to include more tie-ins. Like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the issue I think we're running into. Because like what I think Axe did well was there was a tie-in every week or a main issue every week, so you were constantly reminded Axe is going on. And then other books were happening concurrently, like Spider-Man running into Gwen Stacy happened concurrently with Axe. So regardless of your overall opinion of Axe and its relevance to the overall Marvel landscape, you were never made to forget it existed. While Dark Crisis, as much as I love this story, they're constantly like the rest of the universe is ignoring that it's happening.
Yeah.
Marvel over here is like, oh, hey, Tony, what's going on? I have a ghost of Gwen Stacy here. What should I do?
Oh, yeah, I know. No, everybody, like, at the very least, Axe made sure, even if Marvel, like, only half promoted it, that, like, you can't ignore it, and it happened. It's part of the lineup. And there's no other event that's, like, abutting it and drawing attention away from it, or deliberately contradicting it or saying like, oh yeah, no, by the way, like that all wraps up, you're fine, don't worry about it, like Flashpoint Beyond did. Like DC, it's like DC wanted to have Dark Crisis come out, but also didn't want to have anything to do with it. It's really weird. Because like they didn't promote it. Like there's no plug. There's nothing. It's just like here, it just comes out.
Dude, this is a problem that I'm having with DC right now in general. We literally just discussed this yesterday with Super Sons. They're not promoting that crap anywhere. Black Adam got promotion, Gotham Knights got promotion, but their big event in the comics, I know it's happening because this is my job. But I am far less aware of events that are happening due to the fact that I now have like 4 other channels and 2 other jobs that I'm doing on the side.
True.
All good. Don't worry. Benny's not just, I'm not working at Target on the off hours, but I'm busy. And so I constantly forget Dark Crisis is a thing because it's not happening. It's not concurrently going. I'll pick up Batman and he's dealing with Failsafe over in Gotham, or I'll pick up there's no Green Lantern right now, but you know what I'm saying? No. Or Nightwing. Nightwing's dealing with Bloodhaven being taken over. Or in Batman versus Robin, he's fighting a demon Robin. And no one talks about Dark Crisis outside of, once in a while we get an asterisk. This happens before Dark Crisis.
Right.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing, and they're not doing a good job of reminding you that it's happening.
No, I would actually believe it if they were like, we dissolved the marketing department. There is no marketing department. Because if there is a marketing department, they are just like having a blast, not doing a damn thing.
Right. Our chat is bringing up the worlds without the Justice League. You're not wrong.
Those books exist. Came out.
And they, as far as I know, none of them have come out in a long time.
No.
Because they were doing a Dark Crisis, Worlds Without the Justice League, Young Justice, Flash. So during that first like 2-3 months, there was a weekly Dark Crisis themed event happening, so you were constantly reminded. But I feel like since October, it's just dried the hell up.
Not only that, but like the books come out. That's not enough of a promotion. Like the promotion is that books are coming out, not that you use books coming out to be the promotion to tell you that other books are coming out. That's not how you plug. You don't tell people that a bold new candy bar is coming out by releasing a pre-candy bar. You need to tell people in signage, in commercials, in promotions, and that's not what they're doing. And Dark Crisis, like I guarantee you that DC is having, I'll bet there were no marketing department meetings about promoting this event, but I'll bet there's a big damn meeting at the end of this where they're like, how come Dark Crisis failed so bad? What did you do wrong?
I actually wonder how the numbers are doing, because I'm not looking at this as a week-to-week sales thing. I'm wondering if it's as bad as we are seeing, or if it's still just selling like crazy, and they're like,
I bet it sells fine, because like it's not a commitment. It's like, I can imagine Axe selling worse because every week you go into the comic book store, Axe, you can be like, I don't want to read that, I don't want to read that, I don't want to read that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Axe bump wouldn't have necessarily helped. Whereas Dark Crisis, every, like, month or so, you go, oh, look, Dark Crisis, oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a thing that's happening, right?
Right, and it's, like, not a big commitment. They didn't even bother to make a Worlds Without a Justice League issue for every member of the Justice League they don't have worlds for. Like, They doubled up on some of them. Are you kidding me?
I'm surprised that the event named Dark Crisis, there wasn't some weird Halloween tie-in. Like,
yeah.
Like, oh, by the way, here's a world where Black Lanterns are a thing again.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Necron is a villain in the Dark Army.
I don't understand. I don't understand what they're doing over there, and I'm finding it as a DC fan difficult to maintain my hype for Dark Crisis.
No, and this issue didn't do much to help me on.
No, it's just a big fight, which I like. I like the big fight, but I felt like this would have been fine if it was like Dark Crisis 5, 2 weeks later 6, 2 weeks later 7. All right, cool. That was a huge fight. We moved right through it. But now it's just dragging it out. And I just showed you there's 2 more tie-ins coming out. They're going to do that thing of like, well, we need more time to finish the story before 7 where it ends. So
and I'll bet there's an Omega issue after the 7th issue. So it's rough.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Kit Kat Sneak Attack in our chat. We're the marketing department.
It's true.
I go read Dark Crisis.
Yeah, go read it so we can talk about what the hell's going on, because we're the only ones talking about it. We're like, hey, remember Dark Crisis? As opposed to people who are like, Dark Crisis is bad because there's a black person in it, or like, what are you doing?
I loved, dude, you want to talk about just random? I'm not going to give any promotion to the people who did this, but I saw a video that was like, the Axe event is terrible. So I started watching it. I didn't know who this channel was. I'd never heard of them. And these just 2 guys that are just ranting about how it's terrible because there's no ramifications and it doesn't affect the Marvel Universe and this is an embarrassment and it's gonna ruin Marvel for the entire year. And and I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like. That was where my idea for making the video about how the reason why events don't matter is because they can't, and they never have.
Yeah.
Like, that was why that video idea came out of, like, how, because these guys on this video that were whining about it looked like they were like us. They were the upper 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, the event had no ramifications. And I'm like, you've obviously been reading comics for more than a year.
Yeah.
You know that.
How could you possibly be surprised by that?
Yeah. When I made that comment last time, somebody made a comment in our comment section about the only event they can remember having ramifications was House of M.
Right.
And I can even counter that because House of M did have ramifications for everyone that wasn't a mainline X-Man.
Yep. Yeah, there was legitimately a bubble that was made around your favorite X-Men.
It was
so
one
they
of those
wouldn't
things.
be affected.
For like 2 issues, they reflected on it, and then it came up occasionally as to why there was only 100 of your favorite X-Men left. I think the only X-Men who was affected, who was an important X-Men, was Jubilee. And Jubilee, her powers were fireworks.
And then they made her a vampire.
Yeah.
Was that what it? That what it was?
That was what it was. They made her a vampire because they're like, well, she still needs powers.
Right. Well, she's still a character.
Yeah.
And even then, then they kept doing random events that were like, let's undo House of M. Like, remember Avengers versus X-Men where they were like, the big surprise was, we're gonna make New Mutants.
Yeah.
And then there was like immediately after it. No, it was like a couple of people with wings, and they were like, never mind. And then there was like, was it Pietro was like, I'm gonna do something. Remember the Son of M or something like that? And it was like, oh, that'll fix House of M. Nope, didn't. And then I don't know. I guess the final nail in the coffin was House of X. Was House of X powers of 10.
Okay, I was gonna say, how did they officially do it? Because I know in Krakoa we now have thousands of X-Men again.
Yeah, no, it was just like everybody, because they're. It was actually really fun because like anybody who died during that time is back, and anybody who got depowered can die and come back with their powers again.
Right,
and
that was
anyone who did like they go into an arena, and it used to be Apocalypse would like slaughter them, and then they would wake up and they'd have powers again, and it'd just be like that never happened. And I'm like, okay.
And it was a good way to bring it back.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
I'll admit that's the only event that seemingly had any lasting ramifications, but it was a convenient ramifications where it didn't affect anyone that mattered, and then they could use it as a plot device moving forward. So
yeah, I mean, Civil War had significant ramifications. It took until after Siege to repeal the Superhuman Registration Act.
Right, but the Superhuman Registration Act stopped mattering. That was my problem with that one.
Well, only
yes,
because
it was still around.
Yeah,
well, it was still around when needed. Just like House of M was around when needed, but it was also easily ignored. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, it was ignored in as much as, you were like, well, I still want to tell my stories about these characters. But, like, Secret Invasion was affected by Civil War. The entire run of New Avengers was disrupted by Civil War. Like, I'm sure there was a plan for Civil War or for the New Avengers that did not involve them all being hunted by the government and living in Doctor Strange's house, and like It was a neat status quo change, and it lasted a long time. But
they haven't done anything like that in a very long time. And we're not going to go into that topic again. There's no reason to. Let's move forward with our main topics of the day because we're running out of time fast because we're just ranting about comics Dark Crisis. Ahead of the 2023 movie The Marvels, Marvel's going to be releasing the first solo adventure of Monica Rambeau as Photon. There's also a good chance that the character will be using the code name of Photon in the upcoming film.
Okay.
I mean, that's cool. I'm not going to lie. I know nothing about Monica Rambeau other than she exists.
Right.
Like, that's all I've got with her, really.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's all that Marvel has really provided for most fans is, like, she exists, and she's, I guess, fun. She was so she led the Avengers. She was part of the Ultimates after they had co-opted that name in the main universe. She debuted, I think, in a Spider-Man comic book.
Yeah, I think it was Spider-Man, and
she's the first woman to be called Captain Marvel. And she was on Next Wave, which is the only
she's been around for a while.
Oh, she's been around since the 70s.
Yeah.
But but to not much. I mean, she has, and the thing is, she's been there. Like she has been. She was in Secret Wars. Like when people read Secret Wars from 1984. They're like, who the hell is that? Like, that's Captain Marvel, and that's Monica Rambeau.
Right.
There's nothing you can do to change that, you know? And it's like, she was Captain Marvel. There is a Marvel Epic Collection or something that collects her, and it's called Captain Marvel. It's her on the cover, and it was printed within the last couple of years. Like, she is a major character in the Marvel universe if you want to count a character that's been around for 30 plus years,
right? But not been a part of things like heavily, which is weird. It's kind of like that whole period when like people forget that Captain Marvel used to be Miss Marvel and Warbird. Like everybody, woke movement in 2013 or whatever. Like, no, she's been around for like 20 years, man.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, like
her becoming Captain Marvel is fine. Carol Danvers has been around for a while. If we're gonna use that argument, why isn't Captain America Colonel America? Like,
right, which he is in the Zombies universe.
Yeah, I know.
But like, no, that whole argument. I mean, the idea of like accusing them. She has gone through so many different costume and name changes, that is to say, Carol Danvers, that her being Captain Marvel is like the most logical change. I mean, Warbird, Binary?
I was reading Kang Dynasty to cover it on the channel, and I was like, Warbird? And she conquered an underground nation?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, man, Kang Dynasty. I thought about doing the same thing, and I went through it. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
It's all over the place, man. It's classic events where they're just like
Avengers,
a
where
thing is happening, but we're gonna go over. Like they fight like nuclear zombies. Kang and Captain America are giants fighting each other.
Oh my God. Also, I love how like that Warbird thing lasted way too long. Like there's a moment, I don't remember what book it's in. That's how disruptive it was. I remember Captain America calling her Warbird by accident. He's like, hey, Warbird, let's do this. And she's like, it's Ms. Marvel now. And it's like, I love that characters in the canon can't keep it straight. But yeah,
Monica Rambeau. That's like Hank.
Yeah.
When Hank decided to do his multiple clone, like now I'm Yellow Jacket, and now I'm a Giant Man, and now...
Yeah. But what was it? I love that moment where, what was it? Iron Man's like, Hank, he's like, all right, Giant Man, let's go. He's like, it's the Wasp now because Janet died, and I'm calling myself the Wasp. Yeah. And he's just like, Hank, I don't have time to deal with whatever meltdown you're having right now.
Whatever's going on, we gotta go fight aliens, man. Let's do this.
Keep it together, man. It's so great. Anyway,
fun side note: because someone in our chat made the joke of Ms. Marvel as opposed to Miss Marvel.
Well, it is Ms.
Well, so I didn't know there was a difference between Mrs., Miss, and Ms.
Yes.
I didn't until I just said Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel as in Kamala Khan made a video, and there was someone who was highly offended that I said Miss and not Ms. And they're like, Ms. is how you properly say it, as Ms. implies no way of knowing if they're married or not, and is a way to even out Mr. and Ms. And I'm like,
exactly.
That makes sense. I've never freaking heard of that, and I Googled it, and I'm like, that's a thing? Like,
oh yeah, no,
this is like 2012, Sal. This is like
this was set up in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
Like they set up the Ms. moniker, which by the way is really cool. And if these like people who bang on their lecterns and piss and moan about woke politics, like when they established Carol Danvers as Ms. Marvel in her first debut book, Ms. Marvel in the 70s.
Yeah.
It was to be a feminist book. Like, because the term Ms. at that time was a feminist symbol that said, I am like representing myself and I have no attachment one way or the other. And it's like, yo, that sounds like somebody put in some woke gender politics into their comic book.
I don't want to deep dive into the woke argument. But
no, but it's like that's
where my argument comes in.
45 years ago.
That's my argument. It's like if you think comics are woke now, then you just started reading comics.
Exactly.
Because we've had feminist comics, we've had Black Panthers from like the 60s and the 70s time frame. Like we've had all these characters, and they've been doing this stuff forever.
Yeah,
but now it's woke. Now
it's woke because I didn't understand it when I was a child, or I wasn't born yet, and nothing exists unless
the biggest
it's within
example
the
I use is always
timeline
the
of my
X-Men.
life. Yeah.
The X-Men were just created as a civil rights movement, which is why when people come at me, they're like, "Oh, woke comics now." I'm just kidding. You haven't been reading comics, and I just laugh about it.
Yeah.
That's a different debate for another day. I've mentioned that recently, that I did a lot of research to find out how woke comics are now, and the percentage of comics that you would consider woke is minuscule compared to Batman's just fighting robot Batman right now. Go check it out.
Exactly. Did you know that Star Trek may actually have something to say besides going into space?
Star Trek has always been funniest because that was always supposed to be the ideal.
Star Trek was always about it.
It was always the ideal future, which meant everyone's on an equal playing field. Like there's no inequality. That's the whole point of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Ryan Reynolds said in an interview that the idea for Hugh Jackman returning as the Wolverine in Deadpool 3 was actually something that Ryan proposed to Kevin Feige 4 years ago when pitching the threequel. Fate just lined up that the Fox deal went through and that Hugh Jackman actually wanted to express interest in returning to the role. I mean, that's cool, but I think we kind of assumed that. This is actually from an article, guy. These are pulled. I want to state real quick, we're not making up these headlines. We're pulling headlines and doing it.
Yeah. Apropos of that, if we don't want to even discuss that, I just watched an interview with Ryan Reynolds from like today or yesterday in which he said, this is the last time I'm playing Deadpool, by the way.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, most superheroes go 3 times.
Right, but I'm like, whoa. You mean it's over? Like, there's not going to be a Deadpool in Secret Wars or in an X-Men movie coming down the line or, some Deadpool team-up movie. Like, you're done? Like, it's Deadpool 3 from Marvel Studios, and then we're done?
Yes, I believe that. Because what's the number one reason people stop playing these roles? They're loaded on money, and they don't need to, and they're bored. I was just watching... I'll get the official name. There's a show from Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds on Hulu. Okay, it's about Wrexham. Wrexham. It's a Wales. Oh, that's My Hero Academia. It's a thing in Wales. It's a place in Wales. Wrexham or Wexham. It's W-R. Wrexham.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
They made. I'm gonna say and butcher it. Documentary of. They bought a football club over there. Football is in soccer for us Americans. And how they're trying to make it a success. Okay, welcome to Wrexham. There it is. Okay. And the reason I say I believe this is the joke at the start of it from Rob McElhenney is that he wanted to get a sports club of something. And he found this and he thought it'd be fun to try and work on this and make it a thing.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the money once he did research. He's like, I have TV star money. I don't have the money. I don't have money to afford this. What I needed was, and then he shows a clip of Ryan Reynolds, movie star money, and it shows Ryan Reynolds in a movie. And he goes, and I needed superhero money, and it showed him as Deadpool. And he's like, and I needed, cellular phone money, and it shows Mint Mobile. And he's like, and I needed, liquor baron money, and it shows aviation gin, and he goes through like 10 of the ventures that Ryan Reynolds has run. And I saw that, and I'm like, Ryan Reynolds never, ever. He's not gonna Johnny Depp this. He never has to worry about money again.
That's true.
And that's why I believe he's gonna do what he planned, which was 3 Deadpools. And they'll pay him a boatload to maybe show up for a single cameo, but he's done with the role. But I will give him credit for one thing. He respected the fact that Deadpool never takes off the mask.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
So you could replace him and just never take off the mask.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could do that. This of all the superheroes to get away with.
Okay.
You get someone who
point.
And think about this. What about going forward? He says he's never going to play him. What if he's just going to voice him?
Right.
You just get a body double
step in
to do everything for him.
I mean, like, isn't that what they could have done at any point with Robert Downey Jr., where it's like, we put you most extreme case scenario, we go to your house, we set up a little green room, and we show you in the helmet.
Right, but they made the decision to kill him.
Right.
So that's a different decision.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, like, they didn't have to kill him.
I agree. I 100% agree with you on that one. You could have even got someone to just do the voice of Tony Stark. If you got it close enough, it wouldn't even matter. I know we would have called on it, but at the same time,
I would have been pretty upset.
But you could have done it, is my point. Like, the general public wouldn't even notice, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but part of Deadpool is the fact that it is Ryan Reynolds and he is, like, participating and interacting. Like, I think it's so important for him to be on set and to react to lines and to come up with stuff on the day and in the moment. Like, if you just have, like, a stunt actor or, like, you know, somebody stand in for him and just do the things that are on the page and have Ryan Reynolds just come up with, like, bits of business in the recording booth, it's a lot more, it's a lot less liberating, and it's a lot more, like, I think taxing. I think he'd be more stressed out about doing that because he's like, well, there's less fun I can have here. I'm just reading lines, and then there's somebody else's lines. You know. I
mean, and you're right, and I don't want to. I feel like I don't want to see him. I think that's one of the greatest castings on a superhero ever. I mean, the best castings: RDJ, Chris Evans, Hugh Jackman, Charles Xavier, Patrick Stewart, and
Hemsworth,
Ryan Reynolds. I think are the best castings, like easily. The perfect castings.
No question. Yeah.
So. I don't want to see him go, but if we have to run into a situation of having no Captain America, no Deadpool, no Iron Man, no Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, because we haven't, after the runaway success, the phenomenon that was No Way Home, for them to not end No Way Home with Spider-Man Will Return is just a mistake. Just a straight up, like, then you don't know what you have.
Yeah.
Stupid.
But all right, let's move forward here because I am on that tighter timetable. Sean Levy, after Stranger Things and after Deadpool 3, has been greenlit to do a Star Wars movie, which is exciting because the Star Wars movies have gone dead.
There's no Star Wars movies.
Like they're not even announced. We don't know that they're working on any. They're just dead.
Yeah. Yep. Just they don't make them. If they make them, honestly, I don't know about you, and you let me know what you think about this, but I think if you're going to make Star Wars movies, they should be trilogies that are epics, that follow the Campbellian formula. Like, they should just be space fantasy epics.
Yeah.
Like, no more, like, now that you have Disney Plus, you know, Andor, some would say, is a more successful Rogue One. You know, like, Rogue One has its fans, and I've come to respect what they did.
I like Rogue One.
I like Rogue One too, but, like, it, you know, but it didn't catch the way they thought. Like Disney thought, a Star Wars movie a year, those will each make like Star Wars money, and they don't. And it's like, but they still cost Star Wars money to make. But if they figured out how to make Star Wars shows or smaller Star Wars movies in the form of shows, then the movies should only be, for lack of a better term, Skywalker Saga movies.
That was my complaint with what they did. Try to throw everything out that take the movies and make them the fantastical Star Wars.
The big ones, yeah. The ones that can only be told in a like 2.5 hour, 3-picture chunk where every Christmas or May you are going to see Star Wars. Like, they need to event up Star Wars again and make it exciting and happy. Like, they need to make it like a family experience again. To like want to go, because like for at least the first 2 new trilogy movies, that was the case. Like Force Awakens and Last Jedi, people were like, I'm going to see Star Wars.
Yeah, it was like you planned it for it months in advance, like you do with a lot of the Marvel movies.
Right. Yeah, but
Black
even
Panther,
now, like,
for the record, is the first one that I've planned like 4 weeks in advance that I'm going on this date at this time.
I can't get tickets. They're gone. They're all gone.
I mentioned it to you last week. I said, Sal, check. I called. I'm gonna pull. I told you so. I told you so.
I know. I'm gonna have to watch it at like 10 o'clock in the morning or something, which is probably a better time to see it anyway.
No, it is. I'm going at a 3 p.m. on Thursday so that Dan and I can just do that and go get food.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but Spider-Man movies, like I honestly love Homecoming and Far From Home, but I don't think the Home trilogy is epic enough.
No.
So like, it's not like seeing Spider-Man 2 and 3 in the theater. Now, 3 we were bamboozled because 3 is terrible. But we all still went. Like, everybody went to see Spider-Man 3. Like, it was still an event. Homecoming, I think people were excited, but it was still like, but it's a Marvel movie. Now it's part of the Marvel experience.
Yeah. We were all expecting the normal Marvel rotation, which is what the first two really were.
Yeah.
The third one's what blew it out the doors.
Exactly. And Spider-Man Far From Home was just like Spider-Man European Vacation. Like, oh, this is less exciting and big than I thought it was going to be. Like,
I never thought about it, but it's like National Lampoon's Spider-Man.
Yeah, yes. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, it's cool and I like it, but it's like I want that kind of mundanity in my college trilogy Spider-Man, where it's like, where it's like, oh no, Jack-O-Lantern is the villain and he's trying to bang Black Cat. That's the movie. You know, or like or all to the trilogy is who is the Hobgoblin, and I'm trying to fight Hammerhead or Vulture or not Vulture, but hell, bring back Vulture. End that whole Morbius thing. Getting off track. But Star Wars needs to be an event again, and the way to do that is to be like, we're only doing trilogies, and the trilogies are going to be big. That's it.
Or I agree. I do think we should get our trilogy. I don't think they're going to try that again. Mm-hmm. So make that one movie incredible. Right. And leave enough open that we could go trilogy, but make us one incredibly packed event Star Wars movie.
I think you got to plan, because like that's the problem, right? Because Last Jedi,
right? But you could plan for a solo movie that has the potential for sequels. Look at Matrix 1. Yeah, they had no idea that they were getting sequels, but there was more than enough to make sequels on. Now there's a debate about
there's a debate
about 2 and 3 being any good, but it was set
and
up
that's
to
what
be
we need to not have happen. You know, like the second Star Wars movie is one of the best sequel. Is one of the best sequels ever made. You know, it's like Godfather 2 and Empire Strikes Back.
I mean, we literally said the other day, what was your rainy day movie? And you said Empire Strikes Back. Yeah.
Right? And like Return of the Jedi, no one's favorite Star Wars movie, but still at least caps the trilogy in a satisfying way. Vader's vanquished, the Emperor's defeated, bears. Whatever. Like, we're in. We're at that point, people were like, and the space battles are dope, and the chicken walkers are cool. Like, there's nothing wrong with Return of the Jedi. Swoop bikes, we finally got those. That's awesome. But it's not as like narratively satisfying as A New Hope or Empire. Right. But it still doesn't. But it doesn't suck. Like, it's not Rise of Skywalker, where it's like, I don't like the prequels at all, and I'm never going to be convinced otherwise. I'm sick of your comments. Don't bother.
At this point, you either like or hate them. There's no convincing you otherwise.
Legitimately,
You've
in the
seen
comments,
them,
like,
Sal.
Don't bother. But
I don't mind the first episode 1 and 3.
Okay. I mind all of them, but but everyone agrees that Rise of Skywalker is garbage. Like, I hate the prequels, but Rise of Skywalker sucks.
Yeah, in general, it was a terrible capping. But yeah, I agree.
It's just a bad movie.
We need a big thing again, and I think a Sean Levy single one that could go into sequels is the way to go.
The only
give us one. Don't plan. I say outline 3. Put everything you need to make the first one a complete movie, and go from there. Yeah, that's what I say.
My problem is Sean Levy. Did he make the Adam Project? Because if we're looking at Free Guy and the Adam Project, both those movies are ugly. They are ugly, lousy.
He made
SNL
both of those.
Movies.
I liked Free Guy, but Free Guy was trying to go for that GTA kind of look.
Free Guy was funny, kind of, but it was still like it didn't look good. You know, it wasn't like, holy crap, this is like immersive. Ready Player One is basically just Free Guy on steroids. Like, it's just like references and a very basic plot. And it's like, oh, Free Guy is ugly. The CG sucks. It's just really bad looking. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to see that Star Wars. Like, Star Wars changed the game for special effects. If you're not cutting edge, if you're making Star Wars and you're not changing the game, or at the very least maintaining, then why waste my time?
Right.
And I'm worried that Sean Levy, who did a great job with Stranger Things, but I don't watch Stranger Things for the incredible effects. I watch Stranger Things
matter of fact,
for the
when they go
narrative
crazy effects, it kind of loses me a little bit. Like when they went into the Upside Down, I was like, okay, it's cool, but now we're just in CG landscape. Like this isn't.
Yeah.
The practical effects on the first couple of seasons are what made those really good for me because it looked real. Even though I know they were CG.
Yeah.
You used it so sparingly that when it did happen, it looked incredible.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So next up, because I got to run through these one in a little bit of a hurry because I got to run.
Here we go.
We had an interview with Kevin Feige where he said that he's very excited for the next phase of movies with Kang as the villain in the Multiverse Saga. So based on what we said about the problems of Phase 4 and how he's going in every direction, we are officially Multiverse Saga. And I know he said that a few months ago, but he's sticking to it. So
yes. And like him saying that Kang is like the villain makes me kind of concerned because I'm like, is Kang the main villain of Secret Wars?
He's got to be.
I guess he will
feel
be.
like Kang is going to take the Doctor Doom role. Even if they introduce Doctor Doom, I feel like they're planning something bigger with him.
I think you're right because, I mean, like, as much as everyone in the comments is going to be like, nope, Doctor Doom's the main villain, Doctor Doom's going to be the main villain, I think that it will feel like, besides you, the audience member, filling in the gaps and going like, no, it's perfect for Doctor Doom because of these comic books I read. Like, narratively speaking, in this movie series, like, Doctor Doom will show up in Fantastic Four, maybe, even though they've said he's not going to be the villain of the Fantastic Four movie. And then 2 movies later, he's just going to have his own movie where he fights everybody?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I feel like what they're going to do, because if you actually think about how we got to Secret Wars, you would need to establish, to get to where Doctor Doom organically makes sense.
Yes.
Okay? You would need to have introduced the Fantastic Four this phase.
100%.
We would need to have him start working behind the scenes to get to Secret Wars, to see that conflict with him and Reed, which is why I think what they're going to do is take Kang, put him as the main villain of Secret Wars, because you could easily swap that around. If you don't have the Reed Richards Dr. Doom dynamic, you could put any villain in that role if you build it up properly. Yeah, I think he's going to be our Secret Wars villain, and then we're going to do something else with Dr. Doom.
There's always room for more Doom. There's room for Doom.
And I think they don't want to introduce him and get rid of him because whoever is at the end of Secret Wars is going to be like Thanos. They're going to be gone.
Yeah,
either killed or gone. We're not getting them back.
Yeah, we're not going to have Kang pop up in every third Marvel movie going like, still alive? Like that'll be lame.
I'm a time traveler.
Literally there's infinite numbers of me. I don't think so.
So because they didn't bother doing the Fantastic Four or Doom, I think they want to take time because that's a very, very good relationship in the comics. Yes. I don't think it should go. By the way, we've been setting up Kang, but now that Doom's here, he's in charge.
Yeah,
what? No, and then he's gone because he'll be gone after that. Like
100%. No, there's a moment in the original Secret Wars from '84 where Captain America goes to face off against Doctor Doom, and he goes, "It's just you and me, Doom, the way it should be." And I'm like, "Bitch, you ain't a Doctor Doom character. Like Captain America, you don't fight Doctor Doom,
right?"
And it's like, that's how it'll feel if you watch Secret Wars and Dr. Doom's like, all right, I'm going to fight Iron Man when he comes back from the multiverse. Like, that's cool, but like, it's not earned. It's not going to feel good.
It won't feel like, if they set up Kang properly with Phase 5 and then into 6, this will be much better.
Yes.
So, all right. Next up, last thing on the list here, Jason Momoa was asked how he feels about everything happening with DC with Cavill, James Gunn, and Peter Safran. And he all he said was, "There's going to be a lot of cool things coming up, and one of my dreams will come true. Will be happening under their watch. So stay tuned." I'm just more excited for the DC.
What does that mean? That's cool. No, it's all good news. Everything that we're hearing from DC is like, all right. I mean, it's very non-committal. It's very vague, but still like, all right, okay, sounds good. It's not like there have been, every time I hear something from the Sony camp, I'm like, oh God. Like every time. There's no good news from Sony outside of like, even the good news about Into the Spider-Verse, like, it's delayed. Like, it's never great news from Sony. But with DC, like every time I'm hearing something, even though they haven't produced anything, I'm not seeing anything, they're like, here's an idea, we're going to make the movies good. And the characters are going to be the characters you recognize. And it's like, what a revolution.
Why did it take you 10 years to get here?
yeah, exactly. Like, oh, that's a novel concept. I hope they execute it properly. Yay.
But that is today's episode of Absolute Comics, guys. Thank you so much for all of these years. The reason I brought that up at the beginning, we're not anniversary or anything, it's just Sal and I realized at the beginning of this how long we've been doing this.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much. We appreciate your continued support right here. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you're watching this on Absolute Comics. If you're watching this on your podcast network, make sure you give us a good review if you really like this show. And always check out our sponsors if you want to keep the show going. Gamer Subs is a great replacement for your energy drink, and I'm a really big fan of them, as you can tell. All right, well, we'll see you guys next time right here.